God, amen. Last week, I know that I probably left many of you wondering and asking, am I his disciple? And what can I do to preach the gospel to others? And am I living the call which is required of me? And at least I hope that's what I did last week. I hope that that's what I reached out and was able to do last week, to make you kind of question, am I really living the word that is required of me to go preach the gospel to others? And so the question may be now, where do we start? The question is, where do we start? How do we begin? And I want to give you a little story. As I was preparing this lesson, I read this beautiful story of this Japanese doctor who lived through the terrible bombings of Hiroshima, and he was kind of standing at the street corner. He was standing at the street corner under like this building. He was sheltered when the bomb went off. And when the blast went off, he was all of a sudden like, all he can hear was noise of people crying. And people like really, he didn't know what to do. He wasn't sure what he was going to do. So he was overwhelmed. There were so many people who had been hurt by this bombing, and so many people who were devastated at the moment and were crying out because buildings like crashed over them. And he was thinking, what am I going to do? Where am I going to start? And all of a sudden he reached down, got into his black bag, opened his black bag, and he started by helping the person right at his feet. The person right at his feet. That's where he started. That's where he began. The person that was right in front of him, the person that was closest to him is where he began to do his work. And so many times I know that we feel overwhelmed. Many times we feel overwhelmed by the amount of people we need to preach to, the amount of people that really need to know the gospel, the amount of people that are around us at home or at work or at school that have not heard the word of Christ. So we feel overwhelmed. Where will I begin? Where will I start to bring the gospel to these people? How will I start? And the Lord, and I'm telling you, it's exactly like what this Japanese doctor did. We need to learn from this Japanese doctor and start where you are. Start where you are, and the closest people to you need to be the ones that you reach out to. We need to do what St. Paul writes to Timothy. In 2 Timothy 2:15, he says, "Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a workman who has no need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth." We need to do our best. We need to do our best. We need to do the best that we can where we are and with what we have. We need to do the best that we can where we are and with what we have. Know that each one of us, that's what the Lord is requiring of us, to do our best. To do our best. I know that last week I was hammering it down. I was saying we have to be the ones to preach the gospel. And yes, we do have to be the ones to preach the gospel to every creature, to every corner of this earth. That's our responsibility. But at the same time, I'm telling you today, do your best. Do your best. Start somewhere. Start with those around you. Start with the family members around you. Start somewhere with what the Lord has given you. In the Gospel of St. Matthew is today's gospel actually, and when Jesus needed to feed the 5,000, and he asked if anyone had any food. Who brought him the 5 loaves and the 2 fish? Little child, right? A little kid. A little kid was the one that brought him the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. And that boy was only one person. He was only one little small boy. And what did he do? He did his best. He did his best. He offered what he had. He offered what he had to Christ, and he allowed Christ to do the rest. He allowed Christ to do the rest. He said, "Lord, here, this is what I have. I have the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. Here you go. This is what I'm going to give you, my best. I'm going to give you my best." A great historian writes, "I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. What I can do, I ought to do. What I ought to do by the grace of God, I will do. What I ought to do by the grace of God, I will do. You can't do everything. That's right. You can't. But you can do something. And that's what this historian is telling us. You can do something. And the Lord is moving us to do something. Stop sitting around and saying, I can't do everything. I can't be the one to preach to all these people. I can't be the one to... The Lord doesn't want you to do everything. But He wants you to do something. Start somewhere. Start somewhere and start quickly. Don't wait too long. Don't wait too long. God wants you to do your best and leave the rest to who? To Him. Leave the rest to Him. Do your best and leave the rest to Him. There was a famous baseball player and manager. He once said to his team, the secret to love the game, go out and do the best that you can. But don't try to get your name in the headlines. Don't overpress. Just do your best. I'm going to keep saying that today. Do your best. It sounds like a pep rally or something, right? Do your best. But that's the reality in Christianity, is that we have to give the Lord our best. Don't overpress, he says. Don't overpress. Don't try to make sure you get everyone's attention so that they can see you and know you. And no. When you do your best, you do it what? Quietly. You do it in secret. You do it and you give to the Lord in secret, that others don't need to know that you're preaching the gospel to the whole world, but you're giving it to one person at a time, through your life and through your words, like we said last week. There was a story of a man who put much effort into his job, and he did a great job. And there was a person who asked him, why are you wasting your time doing all that? Who will ever know? He replied, but the Lord will know, and I will have the satisfaction of knowing that I did my best. The Lord will know. The Lord sees. The Lord is the one who we are to please. The Lord is the one who sees our work. And that's who we have to impress, not anyone else. I don't need to show off to Abuna about how many souls I'm bringing to Christ. I don't need to show off to others of the work that I'm doing of bringing people to Jesus. No, I just need to say, Lord, here, I'm presenting this to you. I am doing the best that I can to offer this to you. And I do it. Abuna read beautiful fraction today. The fraction today was, Lord, truly, I do this in secret. I do this in secret, and it's a beautiful mystery, what is being done. And so, St. Isaac the Syrian writes, if you cannot labor with your body, at least make efforts with your mind. If you cannot fast 2 days, fast at least until evening. If you cannot fast until evening, be careful not to overeat. If you are not a peacemaker, at least do not be addicted to strife. If you cannot close the mouth of a man who is judging his brother, at least refrain from joining him in this. Do your best. That's what St. Isaac is saying. He's saying, do your best. If you can't fast all day, it's okay. Fast till evening. If you can't fast till evening, at least don't what? Don't I know this is a hard one for us Egyptians. I know it's a difficult one. But, don't overeat. Don't overeat, he's saying. And then he says, if you're not a peacemaker, don't be addicted to strife. Stay away from strife. Stay away from it. If you can't make peace, it's okay. But at least don't be the one to cause what? Problems. Don't be the one who causes the problems. If you can't close the mouth of a man who is judging his brother, at least refrain from joining him in this. If you see your brother and sister gossiping and you can't be the one to stop them, then do what? Pull yourself away. Pull yourself away. Do your best. Do your best. Remember that all of us have a unique God-given ability. Each one of us has been given unique God-given abilities. And I know some of us might feel inferior because we don't have many talents as others have. And we try to compare ourselves. But no one should feel that way. When Christ gave, when God gave, He gave to each one of us according to our abilities. No one should be comparing to someone else. I don't have those talents. I don't have this way of being able to preach the gospel, or this way of being able to bring others to Christ. God doesn't want you to do that. God does not hold you accountable for what you do not have. He wants you to discover and develop the talents that you do have. He wants you to discover the talents and develop the talents that you do have. I have a story of my own. When I went to Kenya and I was asked to be the program director of an HIV clinic, I said, what? I don't know anything about any of this. I can't do that. Satan said, no, we need someone, you're going to do it. I said, okay, all right, we'll give it a try. You know, first I was actually asked to be an IT guy. Satan still to this day thinks I'm an IT guy. I have no IT experience, except I learned a little bit in college. And he still calls me the IT man, but I have no clue about IT. But God kept expanding the talents that I have. And then I was asked to be a manager in this clinic. I sit now with people who are doctors, and I talk about, you know, all this kinds of stuff from the HIV world and research, and they're like, so where'd you go to medical school? I was like, no, never went to medical school. And then, you know, this is what God does. He expands on what you have. He expands on what you have, but you need to give him your best. Say, Lord, I will do the best that I can. I will offer the best that I can, and you will be the one to develop the talents that I have. You will be the one not to only develop, but to increase the talents that I have. And that's exactly what he kept doing in my life. He kept increasing in talents, things that I never thought I could do. I wrote a grant for CDC. I'm like, it's a $4 million grant. And I was like, what? I don't even know how to write a full sermon, and you want me to write a grant that's like 30 pages long? And that's what I did with a team of guys from the University of Washington, and I was like the person who took, I was like, why, how? But God said, here, I know you have these talents, and I will expand on these talents. Use the little that you have. I had nothing, and I put it all on the table and said, Lord, you do what you want. And he kept expanding. And that's what the Lord wants to do. He wants you to give him your best. Give him your very best, and he will do the rest. St. John Chrysostom writes, give of your best to the Master. Give him first place in your heart. Give him first place in your service. Consecrate every part. Consecrate every part. Give him first place in your heart. Give him first place in your service. God always takes first. Here, Lord, you are first. You are first in my life. I give you my life, and you be the one to develop and to bring out these skills out of me. But the problem is that many of us are too worried about comparing what I don't have and sitting around too long and saying, you know what, it's not my skill, it's not my talent, it's not what God has told me to do. But I am telling you right now that when it comes to preaching his word, when it comes to expanding his kingdom, the Lord will give you talents that you never imagined. The Lord will continue to expand your territory in ways that you never thought were possible. That's what he's ready to do. He's ready to expand your territory in service and in bringing others to the gospel, so that it goes from outside the home to your coworkers, to those at school, to those around you that you might have never thought you could approach. There was this movie, what's it called? The movie that came out about God is real. What's it called? God is not there. Yeah, sorry. God is not dead, right? God is not one person, right? And in the movie, he ended up what? I never watched the movie, by the way. It was just from the previews, and I'm guessing. So, that he ended up doing what? Changing, right? Changed his professor's mind, changed his classes. How? It was one person. One person. How did he do that? He gave God his best. He gave God his best, and that's what the Lord is requiring from us. Give your best. Give your best. In Ecclesiastes 9:10, King Solomon says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with your might. Whatever your hands find to do, do it with your might. Whatever you have, do it wholeheartedly. Do it to the best of your abilities, and let God be the one to expand. Let God be the one to expand. There's a beautiful story about Leonardo da Vinci. I'm sure all of you know him, famous artist. And while he was a student, his old teacher asked him to finish a painting that he had started. And he very respectfully said, "No, I can't. There's no way I can do this kind of work. It's too good for me. I can't continue what you started." So the professor, his teacher, his master, very nicely said, "No, I insist that you have to finish this. I insist that you have to finish this." And that's exactly what he did. He stayed up and he continued what his master did. And he kept drawing and drawing, and all of a sudden, his timid little person that he was went away. It went away, and all of a sudden he started making this beautiful art. This beautiful art. He forgot everything that he was worried about and that he was afraid of because he was giving it his best. And the master comes in and he looks, and before him was this beautiful triumph of art, he called it. It was a beautiful triumph of art. And embracing his student, he said, "My son, I paint no more. I paint no more. I'm done. You are now what? Ready. You are now ready to do this. I'm done painting." But you see, it was Leonardo's talent which surfaced when he did his best. When he did his best. He did his best, and that talent came out. That talent came out. Even Jesus didn't feed all the hungry in the world. Even Jesus didn't heal all the sick in the world. He didn't cure all the crippled, and he didn't raise all from the dead. Yet, when he came to the end of his life's work, what did he do? He said to his Father, "I have glorified you on earth. I have finished the work you have given me to do," in John 17:4. He did his best. He did his best. Most people fail to succeed, not because they lack inner strength or knowledge, but because they did not give it their best. They didn't give it their best. That's why most of us fail to succeed. Not because we lack anything, not because we lack strength, not because we lack wisdom, but because we didn't give it our best. I'm telling you the reason most of you are so afraid to preach the gospel to others, so afraid to give the gospel to your families and your friends and your co-workers, is because you are not because you lack wisdom, no, and not because you lack inner strength, no, because the same Spirit that you have is the same Spirit that St. Paul had, that Christ himself gave to us. It's the same Spirit that all his disciples had before us. Same Spirit, so you don't lack anything. But what you lack is the what? The strength. Is the strength to do your best. The strength to do your best. Lord, I will give you my best, and I will let you work. I will let you work. St. Augustine says, "Exert all your strength, but rest all your concerns for success on God." Exert all your strength, but rest all your concern for success on God. So who will succeed? Is it you? Is it me? No. It's the Lord who will succeed. The Lord is the one to do the work. I give him. I say, "Lord, here, take this. Lord, here's what I have to offer. Here is the best that I can do. You be the one to work." It's him who works, not me or you. The question is, who gives us the strength to do our best? One of the fathers in the Eastern Orthodox Church says, "It is Christ himself who invites us to the sacred banquet of the Eucharist, wherein he comes to dwell within us, to help us do our best. Where there is need for courage and consistency to gain the victory, Jesus Christ takes it upon himself to provide us with all that we need, through the grace of baptism and chrismation. When he fights beside us, he expects us to do our best." He fights where? Besides us. He doesn't leave us to fight alone. He doesn't leave us to preach the gospel alone. He doesn't say, "Good luck, Godspeed, God be with you." No, he says, "Here, I'm here to what? To help you. I'm here to give you the courage that you need to be able to preach the gospel, to be able to give my word to others. I am here, but give me your best. Give me your very best. We will not be perfect, but remember that your Father in heaven is what? Is perfect. Your Father in heaven is perfect, and He is ready to do perfect things. And He is ready to do perfect things in your life and in the life of those around you. But you need to give Him your best. You need to give Him your all and say, Lord, work in me. Work in me. Do what is best for your kingdom, and His perfection will come out of you. His perfection will come out of your life. And He will be the one to cover what you're lacking. He will be the one to fill where you are lacking. Doing our best is taking it to the Lord in prayer, placing in His hand, seeking His counsel and help, and saying, Lord, I can do all things, and that I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. I can do all things. I come to the Lord and say, Lord, it's you who gives me the strength. It's you who gives me the strength. I give it to you to strengthen me. Where I lack, you give me perfection. Where I am lacking, you give me perfection. That's what the Lord wants to do. Where I lack love, where I lack that spirit of giving the gospel to others, where I lack in my judgment, where I lack in my speech, He is ready to make perfect. He is ready to make perfect. I leave you with a beautiful quote in prayer. He says, my very best for Jesus is the least that I can do. And in His service, I will bring my steadfast love and true. For all that I can render is not half that is due. So help me, Lord, to honor Thee in all that I pursue. So help me, Lord, to honor Thee in all that I pursue. And that's what we need to do. We need to come before the Lord and say, Lord, this is what I offer You. This is what I can give You. And I know it's not much. I know it's not much. But I know that You can take that little and make it into something great. You can take the little that I have and You can make it what? Feed thousands. I give You the 5 loaves and the 2 fish as this child did, and You will make it feed thousands. That's my job, God is saying. I will do that. I will be responsible for that. But give me all that You have. Give me Your best. Do Your best in your life to preach the gospel, to bring others to Him, to be a living example to others. Do the best that you can to be true living disciples of Christ, so that you can give the gospel to others, and others will come to Him. Give Him your best. Give Him your best. Give Him the first of everything that you have. Give Him the first and foremost place in every part of your life, and let Him do the rest. See Him work. See Him work great wonders in your life and in the lives of those around you that you are praying for, that you are so concerned about for their salvation because you love them and you care for them. The Lord is the one to work, not you. Not you. You will only offer a little bit. You will only offer a bit of what you can do, and the Lord will take the rest and make it into something great. He'll make it into something great, but let Him work. Give Him the chance to work. Give Him the chance to work. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Don't be worried about what this world will say or will do, because this world will never be satisfied. This world will never give you the satisfaction that you need either. You need to say, Lord, here is what I can offer. I am not afraid of what others will say, or what others will do, or what others will think. I will give You my best, and I will let You do the rest. I will let You do the rest. I will let You work in my life. Problem is, many of us are too afraid to give Him the best of what we have. The best of what we have. We decide to hold on to it and keep it for this world that is perishing, a world that is destructing and before our eyes is in destruction and is perishing. That's what we see. but yet we're ready to give the best to the world. And God is saying, why? Why are you investing so much when I want you to invest more into my word and into my service and into my kingdom? That's where I want your investment. That's where I want your best. For my sake, not for the sake of this world. Because everything around us is perishing. And is what? What do you guys tell me? You think this is going to be something that we're in a place where we live forever? As Christians, as men and women of God, is this what we long to be, or is this world where it ends for us? We have a life past this. We have eternity to seek. We have eternity to be looking after. And we need to start looking after our eternity by giving the Lord our best, not this world. Not this world. Don't let it suck everything out of you where you can't give the Lord your best anymore in your life. That's what it's doing. It's sucking out of us our best. It's taking it out of us. The Lord is saying, but I want your best. Give me your best. I will do great things in your life. And glory be to God forever and ever. Amen.